As I seem to be saying a lot these days, Disney is without original thought. They're no longer a creative company. In fact, I think I even said it this morning multiple times, and probably at least two or three times a week for the last couple of years. They are devoid of anything that people could get excited for because they are out of ideas, they're out of concepts, and they're out of stories that they can just repurpose that they can't help themselves from adding messaging to. Messaging that's widely discarded and, well, disparaged and basically discounted by an audience that's no longer going for their entertainment. You can see that in, well, the recent box office receipts prior to Inside Out 2, which had very little to no messaging, and Deadpool and Wolverine, which actually made fun of the messaging, the multiverse, and pretty much Disney outright. You can also see it reflected in their earnings reports, in their latest quarterly call, which basically allowed people to find out just how much churn has been going on inside of Disney Plus. They're having difficulty replacing old customers with new customers to maintain any form of growth. And without the cable companies and the deals that they're going to have to make with Comcast and the other large providers out there, they really won't be able to tout those as good numbers. Interestingly enough, their ARPU went down while maybe their subscriber number went up slightly. They also aren't really willing to disclose what's been happening in India, where they've been surrendering on all fronts. They also are hiding or obfuscating or not talking about the fact that they're constantly having legal settlements every quarter, somewhere between 101 million the previous quarter and the most recent quarter, somewhere around 65 million. Imagine what the settlements are going to be when they start losing more and more of these lawsuits. Because remember, as of right now, I believe there are still 14 of these lawsuits pending against Disney, and they haven't been able to weasel out of a few of them recently. Not a good sign for Disney. But let's talk a little bit about what they did yesterday with the 23 different things that were announced and the fact that none of them really turned people's heads or got anybody excited. Mainly because it seems like all they have are sequels, rebootquels, or threequels, or remakes or live action remakes and similar. There's very little out there. So little, in fact, that they actually had to turn to Monster Jam, which is a form of monster truck entertainment. Let's take a real quick look at what that means, shall we? From Variety, these are many of the things that were announced yesterday, just as a sampler. You have the live action Snow White, which they showed you a teaser trailer of, which I actually reacted to earlier today, right here. You also have The Incredibles 3. Why? I don't know. Incredibles 2 was very undercooked as far as the story went, and the third one isn't needed in any way, which is a problem Disney's running into with everything they've announced. But moving on, they also talked a bit about Avatar 3, which, if you've seen some of the imagery that goes along with Avatar Fire and Ash, which is actually what it's called, we're going to go through all the elements, of course, when it comes to the Avatar series. They look a little devilish to me. Not to mention the fact that I don't know why you're interested in the fire elemental version of Avatar, but just wait. I'm sure you're going to have like the forest version. I don't know. But I do know this. These ecology lessons are being missed by a lot of people. And these things have the cultural impact of about, well, a 3-day-old wet napkin. Because once people have seen them, they don't seem to exist very much in popular culture after that. They don't maintain a position in the zeitgeist. Of course, we also got a conversation around something we knew about for almost 4 years now. Daredevil Born Again, and again, and again, and again. This is the show that they had to shoot multiple times because they got through 3.5 episodes and decided this is garbage and went to a 0-page rewrite, meaning they started from scratch. Interesting. Next, we move on to the Lilo and Stitch live action, which is kind of only partially live action, considering that Stitch is going to be a CGI nightmare, the likes of which you've never seen. They also talk a bit about the number of Frozen films you're going to be subjected to here in the next few years, because while Frozen 3 is on the way, and this is certainly the first look, you get Frozen 4 following up shortly behind. Mind you, they're announcing these things well in advance because they don't have much else to offer. Everything they have is a long way away, and that way, if they don't make it, you probably won't remember anyway. Of course, they talk about a number of other things as we scroll down here. You have the Tron project coming along. You have obviously a few other things affiliated with those announcements, including Mufasa, something we didn't need and seems to be lore breaking across the board. I really am not sure what Disney is doing these days. It doesn't seem to make sense. They seem to be ignoring what their audience is asking for, which is high quality family entertainment, which they no longer provide. In fact, the best they had to offer was a rated R concept from the minds of Ryan Reynolds and some people that actually know how to make a good movie and to make people laugh. The problem is, it's not family entertainment, especially with the amount of gore and language that's there that may not be appropriated for younger audiences. But it didn't stop people from taking their kids to see it because it was one of the things that they could point to that might actually be entertaining. And finally, one of the strangest things that occurred to me was that Andy must be 35 years old by now, because Toy Story 5 is going to be a problem, trying to address toys versus electronics and imagination versus, well, AI, perhaps. And while that's a great story to follow, the problem is Disney has already fallen into that trap. They are addicted to electronic storytelling with AI afterburners and terrible, terrible messaging, hollowing out a world of creativity that Walt would weep had disappeared. Anyway, those are just my thoughts. What are yours? What do you think about the coming attractions from Disney and all of the IPs that they own? Are you, like most audience members, tired of rebooting, remaking, sequeling, threequeling, reboot cooling, everything? And did you see anything from the presentation yesterday that you would be excited about? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments section below. And as always, be sure to take care of yourself, take care of others, wash your hands, of course, because it's good hygiene. And until next time, see ya.